Okay, yep, I just started recording it right now, so we're good.
Okay, cool. So as Devin said, my name is Kim Danger, and I just love meeting Devin. We had so much fun at the New Leader Conference, and seriously, I feel like we had so much fun, but one of my highlights was going to, oh gosh, what was it called? Villa Blanca. And meeting the Vanderpump and like just doing the whole Beverly Hills thing. And we seriously, we bonded over like the whole Beverly Hills and felt so posh. We kind of branded ourselves as the Real Housewives of Minnesota.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Kim, we probably wouldn't have even met Lisa Vanderpump because she actually was the one that went up to her and was like, we need a picture with you. So.
Well, you know what? I'm all about shenanigans. And I'm like, if no one else is going to go ask her, I am. And I'm so glad I did. We had so much fun. One of my favorite pictures of this entire year is that picture of us with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's how I know Devin. And just a little plug on the New Leader Conference, you guys. Make it your goal to get there. This point last year, I was an Emerald coach. I ended the year as a premier coach. So if you're listening, you can totally do it. If I can do it, you can do it. It's just such a great opportunity to build your business. And we're still really early in the year. It's April. So get there, just do what it takes, because it is not only just a great business builder, but you meet so many cool people. Like Devin and I were brought together, and we met so many other fun people too. And that's one of the things that I love so much about Beachbody is it just brings like-minded people together. But okay, so to get on with my background, I'm not going to go into this in great detail, but I just wanted to frame the conversation a little bit so you knew about my background. In March of 2000, I started a website called mommysavers.com. I was a new mom. I kind of think of myself as how a lot of Beachbody coaches start out. They've got young kids. They don't necessarily want to go back to work full time. They don't want to put their kids in daycare. Well, that's where I was. I didn't want to, I just couldn't bear to like put my dog in daycare and extra money. That's how Mommy started. Sounds like someone needs to move. Okay. There's some call-in people that are on the phone. I'm not sure if there's any way to mute that. Okay. Anyway, I'll keep going. So anyway, I was looking for a website for moms like me who are at home looking to save money, and I couldn't find one. So I decided to create one myself. And that's how Mommy Savers got started. It was very forum driven. If you think back into the old days of the internet, there was no Facebook back then. It was all discussion boards and chat boards and things like that. So I started that up and really created a community for moms to come together and share money saving tips, ways to make money from home, things like that. And just besides that, just have a place where they could bond and get together. So, I do have a little background in community building, which I believe has really served me with Beachbody because we are a community. It's relationship driven. So I do have experience in that. Fast forward a few years, in 2005, I was asked to write a book, which was really cool. I didn't have to submit a book proposal or anything. They approached me. I've written 3 books. I've done media tours, done a lot of TV and corporate sponsorships with, like big brands like Tide, Uniroyal Tire. I've worked, I've been on like Montel Williams and Anderson Cooper. So I do have, some TV background, but I'm not saying that to brag. I'm almost saying that because I felt like in my 30s when all this was going on that I had really reached a high and like, oh my gosh, like I'd accomplished so much. But then I kind of slipped into a funk in my 40s because my kids weren't little anymore. It was really hard for me to write about couponing and diapers and things like that when it wasn't my passion. So Beachbody really kind of brought me out of that slump that I was in because I had seen over the course of 3 or 4 years, going from these kind of incredible highs, being asked to appear on national TV, to, seeing my website stats go down and not making as much money. And it was really depressing for me. And, just trying to do something that I wasn't passionate about it was like pulling teeth. I mean, I hated to get up in the morning. But one thing that kind of got me through that was exercise and fitness. And I didn't think of myself as a fitness buff by any means. I had no qualifications. I was just a novice. I'd maybe run a 5K, gone to the gym a few times. So I didn't think fitness was my thing. But then someone approached me about the Beachbody opportunity, and they mentioned social media. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I know a little something about social media. So I started in, let's see, what year is it now? So 2 years ago, 2014 is when I decided to start a fitness blog. And given my background in blogging and social media, that was what I was going to do. I kind of went about things a little bit backwards because I was going to use this blog and become a fitness blogger. And maybe the Beachbody thing would work out, maybe it wouldn't. I wasn't quite 100% sold on that. Like many of you, I wasn't really comfortable putting myself out there on social media as being like this big coach. I was really apprehensive about that. But blogging, I knew something. Okay, I'm rambling. I want to get to the meat of this conversation, but I just wanted to give you some background so you kind of knew like where I ended up, where I am today. So I had the background, wanted to go into this as a blogger, not really a Beachbody coach. So my big aha moment came last year at Super Saturday, almost a year ago to the week because it was early April. And I heard Trina Gray speak, and she was addressing all my fears and apprehensions about actually kind of coming out of the closet as a Beachbody coach. So after that, I kind of went all in. I'm like, I'm going to start putting myself out there. I've got my blog. I'm going to start recruiting coaches. And so that's when I went from Emerald to, I ended the year as a Premier 2-star. So, I guess my point in that is my story is a little bit different, but you can certainly do this. So I'm going to kind of transition now into blogging and why I feel blogging is so important. For me anyway, from my point, building your social media.
Hey, can everybody please mute their lines? There's a few people that are just getting some background noise on. Please and thank you.
Cool. Well, and I was trying to get a feel for how many of you actually have a blog, and I think it's probably maybe 50-50, or the ones of you that do have blogs right now probably aren't doing a whole lot with that. So I'm going to go briefly into starting a blog and just giving you some tips on that. And I don't want you to make a mistake if you haven't started one yet. So the number one mistake that I probably see a lot of people do is use a free service. And I would really encourage you to go with the self-hosted platform, especially a WordPress. I recommend using a host like GoDaddy or Bluehost. I have a lot of experience with GoDaddy, and they are fine for smaller blogs. I recently moved mine to Bluehost. And if you're going to start out with one, I would definitely go with Bluehost just because their customer service is vastly superior to GoDaddy. But so what you do is you buy hosting on one of these sites. It doesn't cost a whole lot, you guys. It's definitely worth the investment in your business. It costs about, it's under $10 a month for a small site. So you buy the hosting and then you install WordPress on the back end. And here's another mistake. Do not pay to use WordPress, because on any of these hosting platforms, whether it's GoDaddy or Bluehost, they will install WordPress for you for free. You log into your back end and it's simply just like a click of a button, and you can Google how to do it. There's some really easy tutorials on how to do that. Bluehost will probably actually walk you through it because, as I mentioned, their customer service is so much better. So I would recommend doing that. Using your URL, when you do kind of decide on your URL, of course you want to see if it's available, because chances are your first 10 choices won't be. That's just how it goes. But pick something that the Twitter name is available, the Facebook name is available. like, because you are going to want to be cross promoting your blog on all these other platforms. So you not only want to make sure that your blog name is available, you want to do some due diligence and make sure that you can use it on other platforms as well. You know, another question I get to is, well, do I use my name? You know, like a lot of Beachbody coaches do that. You know, that's kind of a personal question or a personal decision that you want to make. What's cool is your name will never change. So I have kimdanger.com registered, even though I don't use it. So what you want to do, I really, you know, like I said, it's personal, but I do want you to brand yourself. And by that, I mean, I want you to think of things that are uniquely you. And I talk about this with my coaches when it comes to any type of social media posting, whether it's on their Facebook page or on Instagram or whatever. You do not want to be defined by Beachbody. I mean, Beachbody is great and all that, but people are going to get so sick of you talking about Shakeology and 21-day fix. If that's all you're doing, you're a broken record. So please don't do that. Think about what sets you apart from other coaches, and that's how you brand yourself. Okay, there's over 400,000 coaches in the network. So what makes you different than the one right next to you? What do you bring to the table? Now, you really have to ask yourself that. And the answer to that question will help you as you develop your blog, because those things that set you apart are also going to be the things that you're going to be blogging about. So for me, my age sets me apart. And as much as I hate to admit it, I'm over 40, but I'm going to own that. And I know that people reach out to me as a coach because they don't want a coach who's 25. They want someone their own age who can relate to them. So I really leverage that and I use it to my advantage. I've got my rock star coach, Donna, is 57. And I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, you got to work that, because the over 50 market is huge. So ask yourself that, like, what is it about you that people are going to gravitate to as opposed to any other coach out there? It might be your age. It could be the fact that, you know, you've got 5 kids. It could be, oh geez, I don't know. It could be you're into extreme sports. You're into holistic health. I don't know. I mean, that's a personal question, but a very important one, because like I said, people do not want to hear you talking about Shakeology all the time. So hopefully that answered that. Okay, so we kind of covered starting your blog. One of the other questions that I got from my team is kind of just like making it visually appealing. There are so many templates out there that you can use for free to just plug in and use and experiment with. I kind of think of your blog as your phone, your iPhone, and your template is your phone case. So anyway, like your phone case might be really cute and whatever, but you can pop it in and out whenever you want to. So there's some really fun templates on Etsy. That's where I got mine. They don't cost a whole lot. You know, they're around 40, 50, 60 bucks. For me, it was worth it just to, you know, have something that looked a little bit more professional. But as you're getting started, the free templates are just fine, because honestly, nobody's going to find your blog right away. Another thing about the visual aspect of it, like I tell my coaches, like, just get in there and get it done. You can fix it later. And that's all a part of the fail forward mentality that I really want to instill in my team and my coaches, because you can really, really, really let information constipation slow you down, the fear of perfection. If you are waiting to get it right, you will never, ever, ever be successful as a blogger. Because when I look at my blog, I'm like, there are probably 10, 15 things that I can pick out on the front page that I want to change. But if I prevented myself from moving forward because of that, I would never, ever get anything done. So the first thing is to just dive in and get it done and fix it as you go on. That's my mentality. And knowing that you're not going to get tons of traffic right away anyway is a little bit of a reassurance there. But okay, speaking of not having traffic, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is driving traffic, because, you know, like the whole, if you build it, they will come, the whole field of dreams. Well, it doesn't work that way in blogging. If you build it, nobody will come unless you tell them about it. So marketing is 100% of what you do. Okay, 99%. if you build a blog, it's a black hole. No one will even know it exists until you start marketing that blog. And there's so many different ways you can market a blog. I mean, there's books, there's websites dedicated to all this stuff. Let Google be your friend. If you have a question about anything, it's out there. There's so many resources online that will help you with that. But I'd say my number one thing is just to cross promote the heck out of your blog, because chances are you're on Instagram, maybe you're not on Snapchat. I'm on Snapchat. You're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're on all these other social platforms. Well, these are the platforms that you need to leverage to let people know that your blog exists. So if you're on Twitter, you're going to be posting links to your blog all the time with hashtags, right? If you're on Instagram, you put your blog link in your bio. If you are on Yelp, I mean, like, nobody even thinks of Yelp as a social platform, but I do because I'm a foodie. So I have my blog link on Yelp. Any place that will let you leave a link back, LinkedIn, I'm just trying to think of, go through the list. Any place that will let you leave a link back to your blog is where you want to put that. And when you're posting on Facebook, always put links to your blog posts. Always, always. Pinterest is one of my main sources of traffic, and one that I highly, highly recommend to coaches because it is so readily used by people that are searching for Beachbody programs, especially the 21-day fix. So if you're going to be blogging recipes, make sure that you get those out there on Pinterest, and make sure you're using the right keywords like 21-day fix. Do 21-day fix boards. Every Beachbody program that comes out, you should be creating a Pinterest board for and linking back to your blog. So driving traffic, social media is where it's at. So you think of your blog as a hub, and all these different social platforms are spokes that lead back to that main hub of the wheel. So you've got Facebook, Snapchat, all these things, they all lead back to your blog. Your blog is like your home base. So if you think of it that way, just make sure that everything you do points back to your blog. Am I going too fast, you guys? Does this make sense? People have questions yet?
I have so many notes. I'm super excited.
Okay, cool. I just want to work stuff out. But if you guys want to type questions in as I go ahead. I just have a few more things, and then I'll answer some questions here. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about? I just, honestly, like, the importance of marketing is so crucial. Search engine optimization is something else that I wanted to touch upon briefly. Social proof is basically using all of those different social platforms to give yourself credibility. It's also having people sharing your links and retweeting you, repinning your pins. All that adds to your social proof, which will help boost your search engine rankings. But you also want to get link backs to your site. That's kind of like the fuel that boosts your site forward. So if I have a website and only 2 people are linking back to it, and then have another site where 2,000 people are linking back to it, of course the site with the 2,000 inbound links is going to do much better in the search engine rankings with Google and Bing and whoever's ranking your site. Another trick is those social bookmarks that you can put on your blog so that when people visit your site, they can retweet it, they can pin it. Having all that stuff right there and really easily accessible for them is a big deal, because that will help give yourself a little bit more of that social proof I was talking about. Not sure what a link back is. A link back is when another site links to your site. So if I'm creating a blog post on Beach Ready Now, and I want to link to, I'm trying to think of another site. I'm not going to use Amazon because that's huge. But say I want to link back to Kia. What's the name of your site? I know you're on the call, right? Or someone else? Kia's there. Is it healthy? Oh gosh, help me out here, girl.
It's Journey to a Healthy Self.
Okay, so and Kia and I just talked about this last night. So when you collaborate with other bloggers, like for instance, say Kia and I decided to co-author a blog post, and I'm going to say, hey, I collaborated on this blog post with my friend Kia of Journey to a Healthy Self. Then I will link back to her site. She'll post the same thing on her blog and link back to mine. Well, we've just boosted our own sites up in the search engine rankings. So that's what a link back is. And that's another technique if you can work with other bloggers for link backs, and also for collaborative efforts, whether it's like doing a guest post or just doing something like that. It's definitely going to help your site rank a little bit more highly. Another thing too, I know that Kia had asked about lead capturing. So I'm going to address this just for you, Kia. Calling you out here. But okay, so what do people do once they're on your blog? Well, ultimately your goal is, if you're like me, you want to convert them to a customer or even eventually a coach, right? So you want them to kind of move down that marketing funnel. First, they start out as a visitor, then they start out and then they kind of move down that funnel like, well, maybe they're a little bit more interested in just looking at that blog post. So maybe they'll see that I'm hosting a group. Maybe they will sign up for my newsletter. Maybe they will see that I have a YouTube channel and check that out. But the point is, you want to have at least 4 or 5 different opportunities on your main page or on every single page for them to connect with you on other social platforms, because you want to keep engaging them on all your social networks. And don't look at my blog right now because I don't have mine fine-tuned, but I do have a Facebook widget so people can like my Facebook page. They can join a Facebook group. They can sign up for my newsletter. I have a VCTA pop-up form. If you guys are familiar with the VCTA widget, it pops up on, I think I have it set to pop up on the second page. And it says, hey, my name's Kim. I'm a 21-day fix, 22-minute hardcore. I kind of go through that coach. And if you'd like more information on my challenge group, fill out this form. So I get a lot of leads that way. So my point in that is every single page of your blog needs to have 4 or 5 calls to action. You don't want them to go and bounce. That's called a bounce rate, when somebody visits your site and leaves right away. Your bounce rate, you want a really, really low bounce rate. So you want them to be looking at 2, 3, 4 pages before they bounce. A really good bounce rate is anything below 50%, actually even higher than that. So most people go and see 1 page and then they leave. So if you're doing better than that, you're doing really, really, really well. So many other factors can improve your bounce rate. Like at the bottom of mine, I have related posts. So if they look at something on 21 Day Fix, there's a little widget at the bottom that says, you may also like this post. So that helps keep them engaged. That helps keep them on my site. The longer they stay on my site, the more they get to know me as a person, and the more they are exposed to those call to actions that I said, like liking my page, my Facebook page, maybe checking out my YouTube, maybe visiting my Pinterest. So engagement is huge. Trying to think what else we wanted to cover here. Been talking a lot. Who else has questions? Really, like, if you guys haven't started blogging it, I feel like I've given you a lot to start out with. I don't want to overwhelm you either. But just the importance of blogging, I think, it's really important. It's not just because I'm a blogger and got my start that way, but so many of these social platforms change their algorithm all the time. A blog is something that you actually own. That's your own little piece of internet property. You don't own Facebook. You don't own Snapchat or Instagram or Pinterest or any of these things. You are kind of at their mercy. They decide who sees your stuff and who doesn't. When you have a blog and people know about it, you are the one that's in charge. If you have a newsletter, you are the one that's in charge. So that, for me, is why blogging is so important. That is my home base. So Kim says, you set up the VCTA and widgets with Bluehost. No, that's a WordPress plugin. So if you're familiar with WordPress, you just go into your back end and install it right in WordPress. So once you have your hosting set up and your WordPress blog set up, then everything is done through WordPress. You really don't need to mess with the host too much anymore, unless you have problems and then you have to call them and you're like, how come my site's down? And that's why you want to sign up with Bluehost, because they will actually respond back to you, and GoDaddy won't.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
So I know you were a blogger initially, but when you started your Beach Ready Now site, how consistent are you with posting on that site, and how long do you think it took for you to really like take off with that blog?
I went all in as a blogger from the very beginning, and I knew that the more often I posted, the quicker the blog would take off. And the thing is, consistency doesn't matter so much in the beginning because nobody's seeing it. So I would really recommend getting 20 to 30 articles out there. And by articles, I don't mean you have to write an essay. I mean, take one of your Facebook posts and turn it into a blog post. It doesn't have to be long. In fact, like 100 words or less is about people's attention spans right now. And if you guys are all posting on Facebook, whether it's to a group or your own personal page about Beachbody, go back. You can use all of those as blog articles or inspiration to write a blog post about. So I would do 20, 30 maybe, and then, make them look pretty. And by pretty, I don't mean perfect, but maybe slap in a photo or something that you can pin to Pinterest. You can tweet it out. You can get some social traction moving. And then, just as far as how often to blog, you really have to ask yourself, well, how consistent can you be? If you can blog once a day, that's awesome. But so many of you can't. Then you say, well, maybe I can blog 2 or 3 times a week. I think I average about once a day right now. There's some days I probably do 2 posts. Some days I don't do any, but I try to strive for 1 blog post a day. What's cool with WordPress is you can schedule them. Like if you're working on a draft, you can schedule it to post later and that kind of stuff. But the thing is, nobody will really see your blog posts unless you promote them on social media. They really won't. So that's why marketing is so important.
Okay. That's good to know, because I always thought that blogging every day would be too much. Like almost as if like you're posting on Facebook would be too much type of thing. Like I thought it would be the same.
No. In fact, like what I do with some of my blog posts, if I really want to churn them out, I'll backdate them so that the people that get my newsletter won't see it. Like they'll be like, oh, how come she did 5 blog posts today? Well, maybe I just want them to be part of my archive. And so then I'll post them and I'll publish them with like a date, like a month back. So people won't think that I'm just like churning stuff out. Let's see, what was I going to say? Oh, Kim, okay, if you want to start over with Bluehost, just contact one of their customer service reps there and they will help you. I'm not very technically savvy. I am a marketing person, so when it comes to setting things up and coding and all that, I know the bare minimum, but I do not import my own stuff. I don't do like database transfers or anything like that. I usually hire other people to do that for me. But I would just suggest contacting the people at Bluehost and they'll tell you what to do. But yeah, I mean, you guys, if you're on Facebook already, I'm sure you are, you're doing your thing, you're posting about your challenge groups and all that. Those are your blog posts. That's the foundation of your blog posts. And another place that I totally find inspiration is my challengers' questions in the challenge groups. Because if you're like me, you get the same questions over and over and over again. Like I have probably 5 blog posts that I'm always sending people links to. It really prevents me from, it saves me the work of like having to type the same response 1 million and 10 million times. Like how to save money on Shakeology is one. Like, oh gosh, like there's so many ways to save on it. So I'll send them that. 21-day fix meal plans, how to prepare for the 21-day fix. How come I'm not losing weight on the 21-day fix? I mean, you guys probably all know the questions that come up all the time. Just if you have a notepad like me, just jot them down and you're like, okay, that's my next blog post. There's so many places to find inspiration. You know, it's what sets you apart as a coach. As I mentioned, it's the questions from your challengers. It's your vital behaviors. Like if you're doing personal development, write about your personal experience with that. Be real and be vulnerable and put yourself out there, because people relate to your shortcomings and the things that you're struggling with way more than your perfection. So don't try to be perfect. That's no fun. I mean, it isn't. Come on. Nobody likes to see someone who's perfect all the time. I don't.
Yeah. Disgusting. Just kidding.
I know.
I am so excited about blogging now.
Good.
I think there's other questions though, because I feel like Katie was going to say something.
Yes, sorry. I do have a question. My question is on content. Do you only do like fitness related posts, or are you doing personal life and being a mom? I mean, is it just...
Okay, here's how I would answer that. I'm not going to necessarily tell you what I do, because I don't want you to copy me. I want you to be yourself. Mm-hmm. So I would go back to those 5 things that set your soul on fire. Okay, so fitness and clean eating is probably going to be one of them, because we're all coaches. So what sets yourself apart? So for me, I told you it's like aging. So I might write topics on a wrinkle cream I discovered, or, you know, like, okay, what does it look like to go through perimenopause or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, so you take all those things that set you apart. Another thing that I like to blog about is deals, because I'm a deal blogger. That's how I got my start. So I do incorporate that into my Beach Ready Now site. Mm-hmm. And I'm huge into personal development. I blog about that. And some of it's personal, not all of it is, but just go back to the 5 things that you ask yourself. If I blogged about these 5 things, these things are the things that I would not ever get tired of talking about.
Okay. Perfect.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Come on.
I know. You must have been just that good.
Did I cover all of it? I don't think so. Oh, and you guys, seriously, here's another thing. Get to blogging conferences, because what's really interesting to me is I feel like our upline coaches teach social media the same way. If you go to a blogging conference, you will learn so many different new techniques that our uplines don't teach us. And it's so interesting, because coming from the deal blogging world, then all of a sudden going into the Beachbody fitness blogging world, it's like night and day. I mean, we're all kind of doing the same thing, but like fitness people will talk about woofu forms and VCTA. And with frugal blogging, it wasn't like that at all. We were talking about Pinterest was a huge thing, and landing pages and bounce rates and things like that I've kind of mentioned here tonight. But just the jargon is completely different, and the take is completely different. So if you can get yourself into a training that isn't Beachbody Ready, I'm getting my own blog name mixed into there. But if you can go to something that isn't Beachbody related, I'd highly recommend it. You'll learn a lot.
Do you think, like, because I know you said, like, when you make a blog post, you share it, you know, with your social media sites like Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and that type of thing. Do you find, like, because I know, like, I've heard, like, with Pinterest, like Saturday mornings are a great time to pin on Pinterest, because you get a lot more traction on that pin. Mm-hmm. Do you see that with your blog posts too, or do you just share them whenever you throw up your post? Is there a rhyme or reason to when you do it, or?
It'd be more important when you share it on your social channels than when it actually goes live on your site.
Okay.
Here's another point that hammers home the fact that you never trust Pinterest or Facebook or any of this stuff, because Pinterest used to automatically feed your pins into the news feed when they were posted. Well, now they have a different algorithm, so people might not see your pin at all. They might delay it. They might see how many people react to it to see if it goes into the news feed. kind of like the same way that Facebook does with, like their, gosh, what's the name of their algorithm now? I can't remember, but it's all based on social clout. So if people like it, it's going to show up in more of your likers, news feeds, and all that kind of stuff. So timing is more important with Facebook when you share your posts on Facebook than any other social channel. Twitter still does stuff in real time, so that's kind of cool. And it depends on your market. It really does. I mean, I find like 9 p.m., like right about now, is a good time to post. Early in the morning, for me, it's usually around 7 o'clock is a good time to post. But it really depends on your market too.
Okay. Anyone else have questions? I think everybody's head just exploded from all the knowledge. No, blogging is something I had a blog before Beachbody that was just my personal blog, and I wasn't very good at it. But I started one with Beachbody, and it's just something I always put on the back burner. But I think it's just like an untapped market, like you said. It's totally you own it, and I love that aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, think about it this way. If all of your social networks went away, what would you have? I mean, where do people go to find out about you? If Facebook went away, if Pinterest went away, if Instagram went away, where are they going to find you? Do they know? I mean, ask yourself that. Like, you really have to brand yourself and make that blog a part of your personal brand.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Anyone else? I'd be happy to do a follow-up call too. I kind of get lit up when I talk about this stuff.
No, it's awesome. I think blogging, I know for my team especially, is kind of something we haven't really done as a whole. I mean, I know that there's a few of us that have blogs, but it's not something that we really focus on. So this was a huge help. I mean, just to have some insight on it and kind of know what to expect with it and where to start with it has been really, really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in one, I don't want to leave you on a down note, but I do want to give you a little bit of a word of caution. Don't focus on too much at once. If you focus on building a blog and ignore your Beachbody business, and you don't do the inviting and you don't do the 3 vitals and all that kind of stuff, your blog isn't going to help you at all. You have to start with the basics. You have to do the 3 vitals. You have to, like, my story is very unusual. So I still train my coaches to do like their warm market first, because I know that my methodology doesn't work with everyone. But I do encourage a blog after they've got the fundamentals of coaching down and they want to expand. So first things first, you guys, but then a blog really does make sense.
Yeah, and I think there is another coach that mentioned this too, but they said when they first started blogging, just so, because I know like a lot of my coaches too get a little bit overwhelmed thinking about like Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, adding all this stuff in. But like you had said, you can take your Facebook post, literally copy and paste it, turn it into a blog post, and you've got 2 birds, 1 stone type of thing. And I've heard other coaches say the same thing. So that's a good place to start, which I'm glad you mentioned that, because even for myself, it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to manage a blog and, Facebook and my team and, it's
right. But like I said, like if you're doing Facebook posts already, you've got the foundation of a great blog. Mm-hmm. And then move it to your blog, and then it's there forever.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Any other questions? All right. Well, I thank you so much, Kim. I really appreciate your time on our call. Like I said, you're our first guest speaker, so super pumped. It was an awesome call. I recorded it, so I'll send you the link for your team, and obviously I'll post it in our team pages too. But yeah, thank you so much.
You're definitely welcome, and I really do hope this helped you guys. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it definitely did. Cool. Well, I'm sure we'll chat offline at some point, but yeah, thank you again. Thanks everyone for hopping on.
Our next reunion episode of the
Nashville.
That's right, for sure.
Awesome.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Awesome. Yeah. Good night. Thank you.